Hello, welcome back. This is the second part of the videos on selecting subjects in sentences. And in this second video, I'm going to explain a few problem areas in finding subjects, some rules to help you to find subjects in sentences that are a little bit more tricky. Let's look together at some problem areas in finding subjects. First of all, some sentences will begin with words that indicate that a question is being asked. So you will notice that some sentences begin with the words where, how, when, or why. So when sentences begin with those words, the reader knows that a question is being asked. And these words are always at the beginning of the sentence. But although they appear at the beginning of the sentence, they are not the subject. They're not the subject of the sentence. So let's take a look at these two examples. The first one, why are you late for school? The sentence begins with the question why. That is not what the sentence is about, and we know from the last video that to find the subject, you ask what the sentence is about. So why cannot be the subject. And you could switch the sentence around and say, you were late for school, why? And then you say to yourself, what is the subject of the sentence? Who is the sentence talking about? The subject would be the word you. You're the one that's late for school. It's not school that's late. It's you are the one that the action is happening to. The second sentence, how old is the boy? That's a question. It's also beginning with one of these words, where, how, when, and why. So you might say, switch the question round, because the sentence round, because how will not be the subject. And you could say the boy is how old? The subject of this sentence is boy, because all the action is referring, it's the boy. The sentence is all about the boy. Here's a second rule. The words there or here, there and here, are never the subject of the sentence. And again, these words frequently come close to the beginning of the sentence, but they will never ever be the subject of the sentence. Let's take a look at these examples. The first one, there was a little girl at my front door. So you're going to ask yourself, who or what is this sentence about? Well, clearly it's about the girl, the fact that there's a girl at your door. It's not about the door. There can't be the subject because it never is the subject. That's what we said. There or here are never subjects. So the subject would be girl. The girl is at your door. The second one, here comes the bride walking down the aisle. Well, when you look at that sentence and you ask yourself, what is the sentence about or who is it about? It's clearly about the bride. She's the one walking down the aisle. As well, here cannot be the subject. So you could switch the sentence around and say the bride comes walking down the aisle, and here would go at the end of the sentence. So your subject is bride. Okay, so that's a second rule to remember in picking out subjects. The third one is called sentences with appositives. Now, an appositive is a group of words in a sentence that gives further details about the noun in the sentence. And the subject of the sentence will never be in the appositive phrase. So those are rules to remember, but I know they can be tricky and hard to remember. So let's look at the example, because working on an example helps to clarify the rule and it will help you to remember it as well. Let's look at this sentence. John Brown, the president of the company, is delivering a speech today. So here's the appositive. You see this group of words in between the commas, the president of the company? That cannot be the subject. That group of words is simply explaining who the main person is, who John Brown is. So these words here are called appositive. It's called an appositive phrase, simply because it's telling you more about who John Brown is. So therefore, the whole sentence is about who? It's about John Brown. So this is the subject here, John Brown. So yes, he is the president of the company, but that's just added information to tell you more about the main person. So the subject is John Brown. So those are 3 rules to keep in mind. And now I want to work through these 6 questions with you to help you to know how to pick out subjects. So let's look at the first one, but keep in mind these little hints before we start the exercise. First, you're going to look for the prepositional phrases. That's the first thing I want you to do, and cross them out because the subject will not be in the prepositional phrase. Next, remember that words why, when, and where can never be the subject. That's the second point. And the third is there or here are also not going to be the subject. So you've got 3 things working here to help you pick out the subject. Let's work together on the first one. Why are you concerned with the state of my health? Okay, you know that why can never be the subject because those words why, when, and where begin the sentence. They mean it's a question, but they cannot be the subject. Look for your prepositional phrases. You might have that list of prepositional phrases in front of you when you work on these exercises. With the state is a prepositional phrase. Of is a preposition, so of my health is a prepositional phrase. Look what you're left with. Are you concerned? Who's the sentence about? You. Are concerned would be the verb. Number 2, the 2 employees, John and Greg, have missed 2 meetings this month. There's no use of there or here. There's no question why, when, or where. I don't see any prepositional phrases, but what I do see is the appositive. There are the 2 commas, John and Greg. So if you think that John and Greg are the subjects, they're not. John and Greg happen to be the employees. So your subject would be right here, employees. Because the sentence is all about these employees. Yes, their names happen to be John and Greg, and yes, they've missed 2 meetings this month. Number 3, here are some key methods for exam success. First of all, the prepositional phrase for is a preposition, so that cannot be the subject for exam success. That's gone. And now you've got here are some key methods. Here cannot be the subject, although you might think it is because it starts the sentence. So some key methods are, so your subject would be methods. The sentence is about methods. So here's your subject right here, because these are all methods to make you successful. The 4th one, why have my 3 close friends moved to Vancouver in the past year? Well, why starts a sentence, it's a question, it's never the subject. Let's look for prepositional phrases. To is a preposition, so to Vancouver. In is a preposition, in the past year. All you have left now is have my 3 close friends moved. What's the sentence about? It's all about your friends. They're close and there are 3 of them, but those are adjectives. So this is your subject right here. There's your subject, friends. Number 5, my husband is very understanding about my friend's problem. Are there any prepositional phrases? Yes, about is a preposition, so about my friends, you've got to go over to the problem because it ends in the noun problem. About my friend's problem. So other than that, you can't really eliminate any words, but what is this all about? You might have thought it was about your friend, but it's not. It's a prepositional phrase. It's your husband. You're talking about your husband who is very understanding. So here's your subject right here. And in the last question, number 6, our old car has needed major repairs 3 times in the past year. Let's look for any prepositional phrases. In is a preposition, in the past year. Look carefully at the sentence. What is the sentence about? Is it about repairs? No, it's about your car. There's your subject, because it's the car that needed repairs, and it needed repairs 3 times in the past year. So everything is about the word car. So I've tried to include all the major rules in picking out subjects in sentences. I hope you found this helpful, and remember to please understand subjects and verbs and how to select them in sentences so that you learn how to write grammatically sound sentences. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.